I guess I knew when I was going to be an artist in different events in my life. So first of all, as a child, I just always remember sitting at the table, like sketching out on a sketchbook, working with watercolors, and always finding sort of an escape and sort of a comfort in that process. And the second event would be when I actually, went to art school at the University of Nebraska Omaha here and graduated with a BFA in painting. And then, the next event would be, I kind of hibernated for about 20 years and didn't create. And then during COVID, when I was without a job for a few months, it really put things in perspective and made me realize what's important in my life. And creating was absent. And I decided that I was going to reintroduce that into my life and have not looked back since and really enjoyed that decision. So my process, starts in the inception of an idea, and then I try to do something creative every day. So whether that's research, whether that's actual painting, whether that's working on my website or social media, but I also start everything from scratch. For example, I make my own wood panels. I build my own frames for my work. So I think for me, I love that part of the process because I'm part of that process from beginning to end. And then, music is a big part of the actual when I'm fabricating the artwork. So that really kind of invites sort of this sort of vibe, this moment to really focus and hyper focus on what I'm doing and sometimes get lost in it as well. That's a great question. So I think, I try to create like a vibe or a energy in my studio. So music is my Bluetooth speaker is very important. My hot water dispenser so I can make tea is very important. And then I have I have a studio at the hot shop, so we have these beautiful windows. I have my easel set up right there. So, and then there's the intangible like motivation. So I think all three of those things kind of play off of each other. And I really try to set up, the studio for me to just, have my full amount of energy and motivation dedicated to what I'm going to do. And if I'm not feeling it that day, maybe an hour and maybe 3 hours, but I let my feelings sort of dictate that. I find inspiration in a lot of things. 'Cause I think most importantly, I find inspiration just in life in general. And what I mean by that is like, a lot of times we drive by things, we scroll through things, we walk past things, and never really appreciate like the mesmerizing kind of things that are around us or the beauty that exists in a storefront or a door or lights or birds or just nature in general. And I find inspiration from taking the time to sort of analyze those scenes and figure out like how is there something there that I could talk about or something I could introduce into my work. That's very huge for me, but I also find inspiration in just looking at other artists, whether it's locally, nationally, internationally, dead, alive, whatever. I'm always kind of looking for inspiration through that. For my own work, sometimes I work a lot with like different kind of interesting color palettes. So, I also like looking at the cinematography color palettes because there's a lot of reasoning behind them, the combination of colors they use. So sometimes that'll pop up in some of my work too, and just inspiration from just life in general. So yeah, my work, I think most importantly, I guess it's easiest to describe, if you take a picture of a landscape, for example, or sunset, and you're in that moment and you feel what that feels like, remember the smell of that moment, you remember the wind coming through, um, and you take a picture of it, and it just doesn't really convey to or talk to the people the way it talk to you. So, we kind of all have our own reality and our own perception of life. So instead of having a physical, actual representation of that skyline or that sunset, I try to paint more of an abstract sort of what that energy felt like during that moment, as opposed to what it actually looked like. So with this show, Murmurations, a lot of the work are basically inspired by like that dance that the birds will have in the sky as they're sort of migrating, clustering together and coming apart. So you'll see that in some of the abstract paintings that I have, some of the cyanotypes. The sculpture piece kind of has a nod to that as well. So hopefully that conveys with other people. But as I mentioned, like everybody has their own perception of reality of what that is like, and this is just my perception of reality.